What is going on, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Huddle Within podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in once again to another episode. And what a time to be alive, and what a time to restructure my podcast schedule on Thursday releases rather than Wednesday. And, it's great timing because on the day that I was recording, so today is Wednesday, we put our episodes on Thursday now, not Wednesdays. For those that don't know, I have work off on Wednesdays. That's why I do it. On Wednesday, during the day, I'm looking at the score of the Wizards, my Washington Wizards, taking on the Miami Heat. And I see Bam Adebayo have the highest scoring NBA televised game. We know Will got 100, but we don't know exactly if he got it or not because it wasn't recorded. But Bam's was. And it was against my Wizards. And I also have Bam on my fantasy team. So, funny day. Was it 32 points at the first quarter? Then 43 points at halftime. And then towards the fourth quarter, it was literally the Wizards fouling Bam nonstop and the Heat players fouling Wizards players. So then there was more time on the clock. There was more opportunity for Bam to get the ball. I think he shot 43 free throws. He didn't make all of them. He made about 36, I believe, from memory, which in itself and alone, the fact that Bam Adebayo is getting 43 free throws in a game is crazy. So, look, there's a lot of mixed feelings about it because, yes, amazing. Let's put it straight up. It's an amazing achievement, the fact that he's got the second highest points. However he got him is what's debatable. He still got 83 points. Incredible. Unbelievable display. Massive and huge news. We're never going to forget about this day. The way he got it, quite questionable, especially towards the fourth quarter, because obviously, as I mentioned, the Heat players were fouling Wizards players so then they could get to the line, stop the time, and allow Bam to go and get more possessions. And they kept him in the game. They were up by 30, blowing us out, and, they still kept him in there. But it is 5-on-5. It is NBA basketball. So no matter what, despite that, you still need to guard and you still need to be able to put up buckets against premier athletes. That dog needs to shut the fuck up. Anyway, continuing on. The fact that he did that still made his free throws, the focus that he had, there's heaps of credit that goes all around and deserved. And I think that's why I genuinely believe that this was an unbelievable performance and you can't take away anything from it. So for that alone, Bam, well done. And it was just, it was great. It wasn't great that it happened on my Wizards who were triple teaming him. We had Anthony Gill on him at a stage where that is just like a shit show matchup. I'm not sure if even the Wizards were like guarding. They were trying to hack him. It worked in terms of getting him to the line, but didn't work in terms of stopping him. And he got a few N1s too. I question the defense. And there's a reason why we're down there. We probably deserve to cop this. But do not take anything away from Alex Sarr's 27-point performance. And he wasn't on the floor for the last 18 minutes. So when Bam was balling, I don't think it's on Sarr. It wasn't his direct defensive matchup. At the first quarter, yes, he was getting cooked. You can make an argument for the first half getting cooked, and Bam was just unbelievable, simply unbelievable. But I'm not going to put it on Alex Sarr. The Wizards are on the wrong side of history once again, but they're on the history books. So take it as you will. Bam Adebayo gets 83 on my Washington Wizards. And, they just demonstrate how shit they are. But we cannot, again, take away anything from Bam Adebayo, who, look, if I was to name you players that I would think would get 80 points this season, I promise you Bam would not have been close to it. I had a feeling that this season someone was going to do it to get 80. I didn't think they were going to get Kobe's record, but I definitely thought someone would get 80. But I most definitely did not think it was Bam. So for Bam to sort of do that, being a primarily defensive center, is impressive in itself. Hey, 7 threes as well, also impressive. So, you can sit there and be negative about how he got it, but at the end of the day, getting 83 points in a basketball game is just incredible. Like, you're versing 5 professional athletes that get paid millions to be out there. So, that you can't tell me, no matter who it is, even if it's the Wizards, who are one of the worst teams in the NBA and are genuinely tanking, it's still not impressive. I can't accept that criticism. I can only see it as simply amazing. And any Tom, Dick, and Harry that has got like 63 points at like after the third quarter has a chance to go break Kobe's record and potentially go for 80 plus. You can't hate on it, man. Like you're trying to be in the history books, you know? And like I said, it's not like the Wizards were like, here you go, here's the basket. Literally though. Figuratively, yes, we can make a bit of an argument as my camera starts moving around. Yes, we can. But no, like it's still difficult to get points. So for Bam to do that, simply impressive. And you know what? It's great that it's happened because obviously NBA has been awfully quiet. So having that added to it. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you guys for tuning into another episode of the Huddle Within podcast. If you do enjoy episodes like this, or this episode specifically, be sure to leave a comment and a 5-star review wherever you do get your podcasts. It'd be also great if you could like and subscribe wherever you do get your podcasts, so we can continue to show this out to people that see sports exactly the way that you do. But without further ado, let's get straight back into it. So we have the NFL next. The offseason has officially started with the NFL, and it's been simply crazy. We still have another 6 months until we see NFL return. But we've seen it return in a way that's been crazy. Like this offseason has been off its tits. We got to start with the Max Crosby situation. Baltimore Ravens haven't given up a pick in like over 20 years, a first-round pick to trade for a player. And they finally did it, getting a player in that was elite on the defensive end for the Oakland Raiders. And today, it just got announced that the trade is getting cancelled because Max Crosby failed the medical. Wild scenes. That was going to get Baltimore Ravens over the top, in my opinion, and give Lamar Jackson some relief on defense at least. And it's just been gone. It's crazy. Like, I could not believe it. I don't know what's going to happen now. He might stay at the Raiders, which is probably not going to be the worst thing because they're getting Fernando Mendoza in the first round, a franchise quarterback, an elite quarterback, winning the national trophy, the Heisman winner as well. Like, he's going to be elite. So can the Raiders be as shit as last year? Probably not. But you just like think, wow, that was a big opportunity for the Ravens to just, you know, be a lot better and Crosby to play some playoff football, and it's not happening. It's wild. It's wild. Poor Max Crosby, I think he was really keen for that move, and it's not going to happen now. So he goes back to the Raiders. Maybe he stays there. Maybe he doesn't. Who knows? But it's just a bit of a shame for, I think, both parties, because you hate when a trade goes through. Everyone gets excited about it. And then obviously the medical issues come through, and then that's where shit just hits the fan and you get cancelled. So as I look at my screen, because there is a lot of free agent signings, I'm just going to go down through the main ones that have happened. The first one being for the Buffalo Bills, getting in DJ Moore for a 5th-round pick and I think another pick as well, 2nd-round pick for 2026, so this season as well. That is a really good move for the Bills. They do not have many weapons at wide receiver. Keon Coleman is one, and Shakir is another, who I do rate. I think DJ Moore, especially with the long ball, is going to be a great acquisition for them. So I'm actually a big fan of that for them. And everyone else, they get some pretty decent players too. But I think that's what is the main thing for Buffalo. They get some extra weapons that will help them and propel them. And if DJ Moore doesn't fail the medical, this will be really good for them. And I think the Buffalo Bills desperately need someone to pair up with Josh Allen. And DJ Moore has shown flashes of brilliance for the Bears. So that's a big one for them. The Dolphins go crazy. They send Tua to the Falcons, which we'll talk about. But they pick up Malik Willis on a 3-year, $67.5 million deal, $45 million guaranteed. Amazing signing. He was really good when Jordan Love was out for the Green Bay Packers. So I'm excited to see how Malik Willis will go as a QB1 for a full season, because he showed signs of greatness and, you know, deserved this deal. I think he showed enough in those 3 or 4 games that he played. And now there's a chance for him to prove it. Obviously, Tua, we'll talk about again, but really lost the locker room and the hope. And I think it was all going shit for them, you know, with Tua there, unfortunately. And Tua was really good coming out of the draft, but it doesn't look like he has been, my camera's moving everywhere. He has been the guy there, and he's been good enough for this team. So I think getting rid of him was the right call. Bringing in Willis, you know, it's not too expensive of a deal, and you get about 3 years for it. And worst case, if he's terrible, you're just tanking. So I'm excited to see how he goes. I'm actually really, really excited, to be honest. And then in terms of the Patriots, Dobbs is a good signing there. That's a really good one there. So I think they will be pretty good. I don't think as good as this season. I don't think they'll get to a Super Bowl, but they're around there. And then the Jets, they franchise tag Breece Hall, which is interesting. They might lose him or they might sign him for big money. They get Geno Smith. Does he start? Probably not. Probably will. But the one that I'm excited for and I'm sad for at the same time is Demario Davis, who goes back to the Jets. Is his third stint with the Jets, leaves the Saints, and he was our heart and soul. He was unbelievable, and we're going to miss him big time. But he goes to the New York Jets to just bolster that defense a little bit more, which, I don't hate for them, but I still think they're going to be trash. So maybe they just get Geno Smith and they saw what the Raiders did when they had him, and they got a number 1 pick, and maybe they just want to do the same so they can pick up someone next season. In terms of, Baltimore Ravens, we said it, they had Max Crosby, didn't happen. Bengals didn't really do much. And, I don't really have much to say there. You've got Cleveland Browns signing Quincy Williams, which is solid for $13 million. The Pittsburgh Steelers get Michael Pittman and Rico Dowdle. That is really good. That is sneaky good. And you know what? Those guys always make the playoffs. I think they're going to go a little bit over 500 this season with these two because Pittman has been pretty solid. They get a late round swap for him, and he's a really good wide receiver. And then Dowdle's been solid for the Panthers. So I don't hate on this. I think it's really good acquisitions. It's a competitive league, but they've just added some important acquisitions in getting those two. Obviously, they got a few others, but we're just talking about sort of the main signings as well. And a few weeks back, we had David Montgomery also joining the Texans, which is really good. I think they really need some depth at running back. I know Mixon's there, but he has his off days. I don't think he's really consistent. And, CJ Stroud isn't the quarterback that probably is good enough to get them over the line. So maybe some run relief could help him here. And getting someone like David Montgomery, who shared half the load with one of the best running backs in the league, has an opportunity to potentially be running back number 1. And, could do a really good job with this franchise. So that is massive for them as well. And then they pick up a few players here in Brandon Smith, Schultz, some protection there. Don't really know too much, but they were very busy in the offseason. They signed a few other players as well. And they re-signed Fairbairn, which is solid. He's a really good kicker. They franchise tagged Daniel Jones. I'm talking about the Indianapolis Colts. And the most important thing they did was re-sign Alex Pierce because he was someone that was going to be Alec Pierce, sorry. He was going to be someone that was going to potentially be lost and was one of the big targets as wide receiver, but he gets a 4-year, $114 million deal with about $84 million in guaranteed. So that is pretty big for the Colts. They probably need a lot more because they choked at the end, but that's something important for them to keep a weapon like that. And for me, that's a big fantasy 2nd or 3rd round lock, I think, to pick up. So if you are a fantasy guy, I'd be looking at getting him in the later rounds if he is available. They signed Groupie as well. He's from, I think, my team. He was. So he was re-signed again, so that's solid. The Jaguars don't do much, but they let go of someone who I'm excited to talk about soon. Trubisky gets signed. Wendell Robertson, can you do well for these Titans? Maybe with Cam Ward, decent. He wasn't too good with the Giants, especially when they lost Malik Neighbors, but maybe he can do some damage for the Titans there. And then you've got Alontae Taylor, which is the big one. I think he deserves the contract, 3 years, $60 million, which is very solid. They get also Cordell Flott, which is also pretty solid too. So they get depth in their cornerback position. So they're really looking to lock up this season. And Alontae Taylor was elite for the Saints. We're going to miss him. And him going there means it's Kool-Aid time. But otherwise, Titans get a really good cornerback there, I have to say. And then in terms of the Broncos, they don't really do much. The Kansas City Chiefs get the Super Bowl MVP in Kenneth Walker, 3-year, $45 million deal. Charbonnet will be running back 1 for the Seahawks. I don't think it affects them too much, believe it or not. Obviously, it was unreal, but, they've shown enough with Jackson Smith and Jigba, with Sam Darnold as well on the helm. So I think they are, in a decent place there. Travis Kelce re-signs for a 1-year, $12 million deal. I think that might be his last ever contract, So look out for that one. There, Jalen Naylor signs for the Vegas Raiders. They get Crosby back, so that's pretty awesome for them. Not too much going on there. Chargers don't do too much. They get a Charlie Kolar as well. Not really much to sort of stand out there. And who was pretty busy? The Dallas Cowboys. They franchise tag George Pickens, so they'll probably look to boost that up in the future if he has a good season. They re-signed Javonte Williams, which is a really good deal for them. And they pick up a few linemen, which is probably going to be really important as well there. So that's something that is interesting. Giants get Isaiah Likely. That is good. Good tight end depth. I think they need it. He was really good for the Ravens, and getting him there is good. Otherwise, not too much going on there, except getting Tremaine Edmonds, which is solid. Gives him a bit more of a sort of defensive relief as well. Some good money there. A lot of players are getting paid. Jordan Davis signs as well with a contract extension. Otherwise, not too much for the Eagles. And then I think Lami Tunsil, big money. I don't really know too much about him, but he gets an extension there. And, they bolster their defensive end with a few other players too. So not too much for the Commanders. The Bears don't do too much either. They lose DJ Moore, which is a bit of a loss, but I think they're pretty solid, and they're probably happy with the fact that they've got Luther Burden as well, who had a really good rookie year, and Mononga is there for extra run relief. They still have Adunze. So, also Mr. Colson Loveland, who I love. Funny. But he's still there. So I think the Bears are pretty solid. Anything else? Bridgewater, backup quarterback. Montgomery's gone. And, they don't do much. Bit worried about them. Not going to lie. Packers, they get Sheen Ryan as well. And they just continue to bolster their defense as well. Minnesota don't really do too much. They re-sign Eric Wilson, which will be solid for them. The Falcons get Tua, and this is an opportunity for Tua. I don't know if he's actually going to start over Michael Penix, but we'll have to see. That's not a good opportunity for him to play some potential rejuvenate his career, be a 1-year deal, maybe get something better in the future. We'll see. It's a veterans minimum, so they've got nothing to lose. And then they get Kyle Pitts on a franchise tag, who I think had a really solid year. So getting him on that franchise tag is probably solid. So I'm pretty impressed with that. Not much with the Panthers, but I think they'll be really good. And we get, Devin Lloyd is a good signing, actually. That's a pretty good signing. 3 years, $45 million. Sorry, as I ramble on and look at the screen, it's really hard to remember all these. But we get to the very juicy part. And that is my boy, Travis Etienne Jr. He joins the Saints. Maybe we don't get Jeremiah Love now. Maybe we don't. But we pick up the New Orleans native who signs a 4-year, $52 million deal with us. And I think he's going to be unbelievable. He had an unbelievable season with the Jaguars. He was a running back one. He took him to the playoffs. And, I think the Saints are going to take out the division. They've got an unbelievable quarterback in Tyler Shough. They've picked up Etienne. They picked up Fant as well, who's a decent tight end too. So don't sleep on that. Yes, they lose a few players, but they get players like Caden Ellis, who's elite as well, and John Ridgeway. So they're fitting Ridgeway, sorry. They're boosting their defense. So don't feel too down about them at the moment. I think the Saints are looking solid, and I'm impressed. We have Odin that re-signs for the Bucks, and Gainwell that signs for them as well. I'll get to Mike Evans because that is huge. He goes to the 49ers, but we'll get there. Not really too much going on with the Cardinals. Kyler Murray obviously got released, so it looks like that Jacoby Brissett is going to be the quarterback number one, which is no surprise. I don't know if anyone's going to pick him up or he goes back to baseball, but that's an interesting sort of storyline that we'll look into as well. The Rams don't do too much, but the 49ers get Evans. That is the one. That is a huge signing for them. I think they very desperately need it, especially after losing Deebo Samuel. They have a lot of inconsistencies at wide receiver, and I think picking him up will be a big difference for them. And that might tip him over the Rams. They might not tip him over necessarily over the Seahawks, which we'll get to next, but definitely over the Rams. And that's where we lead to the Seahawks, where they get Rashid Shaheed. They re-sign him on a 3-year, $51 million contract. I love that boy. Shout out to Rashid Shaheed. Signs with them, gets traded to them, and, won a Super Bowl. So he's winning in life. Seattle Seahawks are winning because that was an excellent trade. And, he offers, obviously, position at wide receiver, but he's also an unbelievable punt return kicker. So, unbelievable stuff. And that's how we're looking for off-season. I'm very excited for the Saints this season. I think the Saints are going to have a real good run, and I'm super keen to see it because you're getting Travis Etienne. We're going to get a 7th pick in the draft. Maybe we get Jeremiah Love. Who knows? But bloody exciting. All the best to Demario Davis and Alontae Taylor. We will miss them, but we're strengthening on offense. So can't complain. I think it's time for Kool-Aid to show who he is as well, especially with that high aura nickname. But it was a pretty busy NFL offseason, so credit to that. And, that pretty much wraps up that for now. And we have the draft coming up soon, so we'll continue to talk about NFL. But right now, it's off season and we love when we talk about these things. So
just wanted to take a moment to thank you guys for tuning into another episode of the Huddle Within podcast. If you do enjoy episodes like this, or this episode specifically, be sure to leave a comment and a 5-star review wherever you do get your podcasts. It'd be also great if you could like and subscribe wherever you do get your podcasts, so we can continue to show this out to people that see sports exactly the way that you do. But without further ado, let's get straight back into it.
we're going on to the AFL, and round zero is just finished. We had some pretty blowout game, or a lot of blowout games, and we had one unbelievable game, which could be early contender for game of the year, and that was the Brisbane Lions taking on the Doggies. But we'll start with Sydney taking on Carlton. Sydney smack up Carlton in the end, 69 to 132. Smacked them up big time, 10 goals. It was a blowout. Carlton were up at a stage by 22 points around the third quarter, and then Sydney just kicked away. McInerney, 3 goals, 30-plus disposals. Really, really solid. Kerner kicking 3, giving a big FU to the Carlton fans and the club. And, that comes off some controversy with Sam Doherty, who Daniel Groves snitched on. Was pretty funny, man. I'm not going to lie. And, he was calling it out. Doherty was just being a passionate Carlton fan, and old man media just needs to just chill. But, yeah, Carlton, they have a chance to bounce back, which I'll get to on the preview, but they get smacked up there by Sydney. And I think it's expected. Errol Goulden turned it up towards the end and was really good too. So McInerney was clearly the best, but Goulden was solid there too. We had the Gold Coast Suns absolutely shitting on Geelong, like destroying them. These guys, really scary. Really, 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 really scary, I have to say. I am extremely worried about the competition because Gold Coast Suns are definitely looking to be a top 4 lock. Just the way they played. Leo Lombard, what a game. Christian Petrarca looked like the Christian Petrarca that won the Norm Smith medal for Melbourne all those years ago. And he is looking scary. That defense, scary. That forward line, scary. They didn't even have Matt Rowell back. Still scary. Took Miller, went stupid. Absolutely dumb. It's great to see because these guys have been shit for ages. And then last year they win a final before Essendon while they were getting formed in the league. And now they're actually making a deep run. They look awesome. As for Geelong, not a good game for them. Obviously, no danger, no Jeremy Cameron. Ollie Dempsey gets 4 cheap goals, but, you take positives from it. And I think they're going to be fine. I think they'll bounce back next week. It's a game in Gold Coast, first round. I don't think too much of it. I just think that Gold Coast are good and elite, and that's what that showed, rather than Geelong being concerned for Geelong, if that makes sense. Because Geelong always find a way to get to the prelim, but we don't really see teams, especially Gold Coast, go out and smash up opponents, and that's exactly what they did. And another team that put belt to arse, and I tipped Hawks to win, and I'm very disappointed about this, is the Giants smacking up Hawks. Smacking them up. Clayton Oliver looked good as well. That's good to see. Hopefully he just moves past what he did in Melbourne towards the end of his tenure there. And, they show that they mean serious business despite all the injuries. And I went for Hawks because of the injury worries. And they proved me wrong, and they proved a lot of people wrong. And good on them. The Hawks, again, anomaly. I don't really trust round zero, especially considering that Collingwood, I think Giants have an unbelievable round zero record, and we hate versing him, and I'm glad we didn't, because they smack up everyone on round zero. They smacked us up twice. So, yeah, I don't take too much from it. Hawks, I think, disappointing to lose that game. But again, I think they're also going to be okay as well. And especially the fact that we have play-in, I can't be too worried about it. And that's where I lead on to Brisbane taking on the Doggies. And the premiership hangover is still real because the Doggies come out and beat the Lions by 5 points. And, Ed Richards, unbelievable. What can I tell you? He had a stellar game. They lost McCluggage. They're going to lose Andrews. They've lost a few players on suspension. So I think they'll be in trouble against Sydney. But I'm not worried about them either. I think it's a premiership hangover. But Bulldogs just showed that they mean serious business this season. And I'm really excited for them. And you know what? It's a big win. One of the games of the year's early stages already. And that's what we want. And then we had the Mighty Pies. You had St Kilda with the war chest. Everyone thought St Kilda was going to come out and win. All the St Kilda fans were hyping themselves up. They've got a documentary. They had Knock Knock with Rick Rewald and the corner hotel chick, whatever her name is. And they got put belt to ass. They had a humbling result. The Pies get it done by 12. Lots of injuries, especially down back. But that just showed that the lights were too bright. That's simple as that. There was no way the Pies were going to lose this match. too much hype went to St Kilda. And I'm not saying St Kilda won't be good. I think they need time to gel. They've obviously spent a lot of money this season, this off-season, and, it will work out eventually. But you have to remember, you're taking on an experienced Collingwood side with probably one of the oldest lists. We have Pendlebury, who just looked like fine wine, DeGoey getting 3 goals, and Dacos making his Brownlow case early with 40+. Like, come on, mate. Like, let's be honest. We're still a well-oiled machine. Pies are hot. We got a good test next week, but I didn't expect anything different here. So the fact that we were the underdogs going in, I think was a bit of an offense, and Collingwood did take it offensively because the way that they reacted and the way that they displayed, the way they showed how they can play footy just reminded everyone who Collingwood are, and that is a team that is elite on their day. So happy with that, happy with the result. We go 1-0 to start. We haven't won a round 0 game ever, so this is great signs, and I'm happy. I'm happy. But that pretty much wraps up round 0, which I'm really sick of saying round 0, opening round. Like, it needs to go. Like, get it back to round 1. And that's where we're going straight to now. I'm going to do my tippings for round 1. And we've got Carlton taking on Richmond. I've got Carlton by about 3 goals. I don't think it's going to be much of a blowout as everyone thinks. I definitely do think Carlton will get the victory here. I think Richmond are just extremely inexperienced. I would love to see Richmond get a win here. It would be amazing, but I just don't see it happening. That's going to be exciting. And as much as I despise Carlton, this for me is the real round 1 game, and this is the one we're looking forward to. So that is awesome there. The Bombers taking on the Hawks. The Hawks should bounce back and smack them. I reckon 5 or 6 goals there easily. The Doggies taking on the Giants, and I think the Giants have a really good record against it. But I'm going to say that the Doggies will get a victory here. I reckon it'll be a 2-goal game as well. I don't know where it will swing, but it'll be very close, and I'm backing the Dogs here. The Cats taking on Fremantle. It's in Geelong. I expect Geelong to bounce back and win by about 4 to 5 goals. But if they lose here, they'll be in serious trouble. Don't be surprised if they do. But at GMHBA, it's hard for me not to back them. And then Sydney and Brisbane. This is a tougher game than everyone thinks. There's a lot of suspensions. You got McCluggage injured. But you know what? I'm going to take the Brisbane Lions here. I think the Brisbane Lions will get this one done. I think that they bounce back from last week and they show who the premiers are. Sydney, they're solid. They looked really good last week, but they also looked really bad at the start. And you know what? Teams like Brisbane aren't going to let you back in the game like Carlton will. So if they don't perform and they perform similar to how they did for the first 2 quarters, I think Brisbane will get them done. And I'm going to pip them by about a goal and a half. I think they get the victory there. You got the Pies taking on the Adelaide Crows. Going for the Pies. You know how it is. Adelaide are very solid, though, and I am worried. I think it's going to be a really good matchup. I will be at the game, which I'm excited to go. Haven't been to a footy game in a long time. Go see the Pies at the G. Nothing better. So they go taking on the Crows. They obviously beat them. There's a revenge there. I don't understand why. This would have been a cool storyline if Rankin came back for this game. They suspended him for 4 games, and this was a game that he could have played. But they decided to do it for this round. So Pies take on Adelaide at the G. I've got the Pies winning this one. And then we've got North Melbourne and Port Adelaide. I think I'm going to go with North. No fucking way. No chance. Port Adelaide, easy victory. North Melbourne, trash. Just rubbish. Not even worth a conversation, to be honest, with those blokes, because they're just useless. So they're going to absolutely get smacked up by Port Adelaide there. Got Melbourne versus St Kilda. I do expect St Kilda to win this one. I think they need to bounce back from that loss, and they are a better outfit than Melbourne. I think I'm going to go by about 2 goals there. Port Adelaide's going to beat them by like 10, by the way. I think it's going to be a smacking. And then you've got Gold Coast and West Coast, and I'm 100% going for West Coast. This match, 100 points plus. It literally could be. I'm actually scared for West Coast. This is a really shitty first game for them because they have a really terrible list. And they're going up to Gold Coast, who just smacked up Geelong. And I think they're going to get done by 100 points here. Like, I won't be surprised. It might not happen because everyone's thinking it, but you just know that Gold Coast are going to smash them. And if West Coast win, then we'll sit here and talk about it and be really impressed. But the chances of that happening are extremely, extremely low. So I'm going to have to go easily Gold Coast for this one. And there you have it. They're my round 1 tips. I'll be tipping those guys that are listening and want to hear my tips. That's what they are. I had a pretty shitty tipping because I got the Brisbane and Bulldogs game wrong, and I also got the GWS and Hawthorn game wrong. So if I look at my tippings as I go now, so 3 out of 5, there's 22 people in my league, and yeah, I end up on ninth place. The highest score was 4 for 5. So take that as you will. And that's obviously because I think that Brisbane upset. There was only like 2 people that tipped doggies. So yeah, we take that all day. We take it to the bank. And, we'll continue to be doing tipping and hopefully get a good run here. But those are my tips, and that's pretty much the AFL wrap up in there.
Just wanted to take a moment to thank you guys for tuning into another episode of the Huddle Within podcast. If you do enjoy episodes like this, or this episode specifically, be sure to leave a comment and a 5-star review wherever you do get your podcasts. It'd be also great if you could like and subscribe wherever you do get your podcasts, so we can continue to show this out to people that see sports exactly the way that you do. But without further ado, let's get straight back into it.
All right, then we're going on to football, and there's actually a lot to talk about this week for football. God, this podcast has been great. There's been a lot of shit happening this week, so it's awesome to talk about this. But we had the crazy, first of all, the double leg break in the Ecuadorian League from, I think, Venecia was brutal. If you haven't watched that video, I don't recommend it. Viewer discretion advised, but it was a double leg break. It was, I just came up right now. I'm looking at it and it disgusting. Like, oh, so bad. Like, best of luck to him. All the best. I really hope his recovery goes smooth. But fuck me, that was ugly. But yeah, a big leg break there. If you can check it out because it is quite severe. I don't recommend it though. And then we had the Brazilian punch on, which we can't sit there and not talk about. Hulk was in it. King hitting people, bashing people. Goalkeeper got through into the post after obviously he stepped on a player. Lots of punch-ons. 23 players sent off. I think that is a record. So 23 red cards, 12 Cruzeiro players and 11 Atletico MG players. Quite crazy. Go check that out too. That punch-on was brutal. Probably one of the biggest punch-ons I've seen in football as well. Wild scenes there. 23 sending offs is crazy. And the thing that is a record. And, it started from when the striker pressed the goalkeeper too hard, took his ankles out, and then that's when the goalkeeper went crazy, jumped on top of him, started hitting him, and then his teammates came and pushed the goalkeeper into the post, injured him severely. If you saw a photo of him after the game, he actually looked belted. And then that's when the punch-on happened, and then just hooks everywhere, all around the pitch. There was like little spot fires everywhere. It was really hard to track. But he had Hulk throwing some hooks as well, and people throwing hooks back at him. It was wild and pretty disgusting, if I'm honest. But at the same time, what do you do when that happens? You just got to be able to send the players off and then just deal with it accordingly. And I think the refs did the best job at that. It's really hard to stop 23 players from fighting. So there was obviously more than that, but that's how many were sent off. So there you have it there for that. We had the Champions League as well. I'm going to get the scores up. And we had the Champions League as well. And I think we witnessed one of the worst debuts ever. And that was the Tottenham goalkeeper, Kinski, who I think Vicario deserved to be dropped. Don't get me wrong. So I don't want anyone to sit there and say that that was the reason why they lost, because Tottenham have been shithouse and they're obviously in the relegation zone close to it. They are fighting for relegation. But Kinski had a shocker. He had a stinker. Van der Ven slipped on the second goal, but Kinski literally gave Atletico 2 goals and ended up losing this game 5-2, which was wild. And, Tottenham are in big trouble. We've already said it. They are in serious fucking trouble. City drop points. Arsenal get on top in the Premier League. But when it comes to the Champions League, we had Newcastle drawing with Barcelona. Newcastle had a really good chance to actually potentially win this game and actually take some points off Barca. Not points. Take an opportunity to take Barca 1-0 down. But they lose it in the 94th minute for a penalty. Liverpool lose to Galatasaray 1-0. I don't think it's enough, but Galatasaray getting the victory there didn't surprise me, to be honest. And then you had, last but not least, I think Bayern Munich absolutely obliterating. What's its face? Atalanta 6-1. Which, at least they looked unbelievable. Those left foot shots outside the box were simply incredible. And then tomorrow we look at Leverkusen and Arsenal. I think Arsenal win that game 1-0. Lol, they always win 1-0. They nearly lost in the FA Cup game this weekend, which was quite a nice surprise. I think what's the team called? I forgot who they versed, but they had a really good outing. Those guys in the League One, and you know what? Fair play to them. It was 1-1 at the stage, but Arsenal proved too good. PSG, Chelsea. PSG should win that one. I don't want Chelsea to win, so I hope that doesn't happen. Buda Glimt taking on Sporting. What a story Buda Glimt have been. I think they can win this one. I think they will get through, and I think they'll cause a major upset, get to the quarterfinals. And yeah, I think that's pretty much tomorrow's games. I think you got Man City, Real Madrid as well. Yes, that's a big one. Draw. Give me a draw. I don't know if there'll be a victory there. I think that game is too hard to tell, but I'll definitely be watching that. I hope. But PSG, Chelsea, Real Madrid, Man City at the same time is yuck. But, it's Champions League football. It's good. We're getting close to knockouts and quarterfinals. We're at the knockout stage, actually. So that's pretty much what is looking like, how things are looking like in the football side. And then we turn to the Premier League as well. Premier League, where we have Man United taking on Villa, Liverpool taking on Tottenham. So that's Tottenham dropping points again. Liverpool, Man United, Aston Villa fighting for top 4. West Ham, Man City. Can West Ham play spoiler? Arsenal, Everton. Can Everton play spoiler? Chelsea and Newcastle, which will also be interesting as well. So a lot of pretty decent games for this week. But yeah, Arsenal sitting comfortably at 7 points with a game in hand. And obviously they still have to verse each other. So at this stage, Arsenal have one hand on the trophy, but there's still 8 games of football to go and 9 games of football to go for Manchester City. So anything can happen at this point in the Premier League, but we're definitely getting a 2-horse race to determine this. So yeah, get excited for that. We'll have Premier League this week, and once the games wrap up, we'll obviously talk about it as well. And finally, to cap it off, we'll talk a little bit about the WWE and most recently about the fact that we have a new undisputed world champion, and that is Cody Rhodes, and no one's happy about it because it's bullshit. The fact that he won despite losing Elimination Chamber, despite losing the Royal Rumble, is ridiculous. Yes, we are very excited for a potential Randy and Cody fight, but no one wanted it like this. It's forced, and also we haven't had a big enough feud or storyline for this to be built up. Cody Rhodes is not heel. Randy Orton is not heel. They've obviously teased versing each other, but we haven't had a blood feud between these two, and that's what we want because they have big history together. And Drew McIntyre gets stitched up once again. I think he keeps getting screwed over. I think he should have taken the title to WrestleMania. We should have had Jacob Fatu in the match, and we would have had a multi-man WWE Championship opportunity there. But instead, we're getting the franchise boy who gets his title before WrestleMania to take on Randy Orton. They have a contract signing this Friday night on SmackDown. And look, I'm looking forward to it because I'm praying that Drew McIntyre comes out and just crashes out and then he gets injected in the match because it's ridiculous. Let's be honest. He should be at WrestleMania with the title. And now we're getting Cody Rhodes. And this is just feeding into the fact that I understand that WWE want to put their main guys there, their babyface, their top player of the company, but you can't force it, man. Can't force it. It's annoying. Triple H just forcing it, bro. Why are you forcing it? Randy Orton and Cody, we can wait another year for that. You can hype that up for a year. We waited a year for potentially Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor, which finally the Judgment Day turned on him. The latest episode on Monday Night Raw. So we're definitely going to see a match between those two. Just far out. Just tease us a little bit more, man. Give us some more time. Randy Orton better win the title at WrestleMania if it's just those two there. So, wild scenes. I'm not happy about it. But again, now Cody Rhodes is the new undisputed WWE champion. Everyone likes to hoon on this road, by the way. It's so annoying. You guys heard that. Bloody annoying. Anyway, Drew McIntyre gets stitched up. Cody Rhodes is undisputed champion. He's going to take on Randy Orton at WrestleMania. I hope that changes. For now, that's what it looks like it's going to be. If it is a singles match between those two, it looks like Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre are going to take each other on at WrestleMania, which is stupid as well because Jacob Fatu got stitched up, didn't get into the Elimination Chamber. We don't know who attacked him. We think it's Drew. Everyone thinks it's Drew, but it might be Cody. And we still haven't got the payoff between Cody and Fatu either because at main event, the match got cancelled. And why is Fatu coming to the ring disturbing Drew McIntyre and not disturbing Cody Rhodes either? He did cost Cody Rhodes the title to begin with. So there's a bit of feud there. But yeah, again, I don't know what's happening with that. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I see a fatal 4-way at WrestleMania, and then we can get Randy and Cody down the line. But, you know, what do you do, guys? What do you do? What do you do? It's frustrating. And like, WrestleMania hasn't been hyped as much either, man. We haven't gotten as many matches set. We have like Jade and Rhea. We have Stephanie Vaquer, Liv Morgan. We've got um, CM Punk and Roman Reigns, which, you know, it's interesting. Cody Rhodes obviously bringing up his dad. Everyone got cut about it. But at the same time, Roman Reigns brought up Dusty Rhodes as well in the past, who also passed away. So I have mixed feelings on that. I don't really see it as bad. It's a good promo. So hopefully no one makes a big deal out of it. Roman Reigns should be appearing more and actually just cutting promos to respond to it. That's how I think, because he's just been part-time. But otherwise, you know, WrestleMania hasn't been the hype that I've expected. So I'm hoping that changes as we have just a little bit over a month before that there. So it is the road to WrestleMania. I'm not overly excited at the moment, but again, a lot of shit can change. And lately, WWE, the way that Triple H has been booking shit, has been rushing stuff. So cramming things up in the last 2 weeks, it's something that I don't really like. It's not really good for long-term storylines, and I want to see more long-term shit. So hopefully that shit changes as well. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up the WWE, and that pretty much wraps up all the sporting news for this week. A heavy week. We went a lot today, and I'm glad we were able to talk about a lot of things because there was a lot to cover and there was a lot to talk about here. So really hope you guys enjoyed that and were able to cover all those things. Like I said, it's sporting news. There is a reason why we have chapters, and that's because if you don't enjoy everything, you're able to sort of just choose and pick what you like and, you know, see what I talk about there. But, you know, that's another episode of The Huddle Within. Quick Zero Ball update. We still haven't got the super rare Messi and Mbappe, so we're hoping to get that soon. But yeah, I've been enjoying having a little fun there. So not many real posts on sort of the clips here, which I do want to do more, but at the moment, I think people are sort of leaning more towards my Zero Balls. So that's why I've been posting that content more on my social media, but obviously still posting stories and putting this episode out every single week. So if you did enjoy the episode, subscribe. If you've just jumped in, if you've come from Zero Ballers, if you're also just happened to stumble up on this on whatever platform you're listening to it, I hope you do enjoy. Leave some comments if there's something that you want me to sort of bring up and talk about. But once again, it's been your boy Daniel. Listen to another episode of the Huddle Within podcast. And you know what? I'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for that. Cheers.
So that's a wrap for this week's episode of the Huddle Within podcast. I appreciate you for tuning in and being part of this community where we go beyond the game and into what really matters. If this episode resonated with you, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who sees sports just the way that we do. And hey, I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on my social medias, which will be linked below. Send in your thoughts and even be part of a future episode. Until next time, keep that passion alive, stay in the huddle, and remember, it's always deeper than the game. Cheers.